Whoa, it's 5:59. We're a little early. We'll go with that. So, it's Friday. Friday. I mean, thank God for that. I mean, yesterday I was saying how the week went by really quick. Today it took a long time to get through it. But I am glad it's Friday. Take a couple of days off and study and try to get this video that I'm working on. A lot of research on. Well, anyway, what's going on out there, huh? A lot of distractions. So, as soon as I get done with this lifesaver, we can probably move on. All right, let me turn, just in case the music is on somewhere. We'll stop it. So really, I hope everyone's doing okay. We've got a lot of work to do during the week. A lot of prayers to get through. Yeah, so let's just move on. Got just a lot of stuff to talk about. A couple things we need to know. One article I don't have out there is, and you probably have already heard it, a day or so ago. Pelosi tells the rest of the Democrats that she wants to see Trump in prison. Kind of backing away from the impeachment process, just because there's no reason to impeach him. But in that case, wants to wait till he's a citizen and then arrest him. I don't know what she thinks she has, but whatever. I would think that he has more with Barr than she has, grounds for him. But in any case, any one of those, I'm sure. I mean, things are just coming up way too clean for Trump. I mean, maybe there's some things Barr's not telling everyone, and I'm sure I've seen that. We think that he is not saying some things, but they get the report so they can read the same thing. But remember, he's not a politician, businessman, and yes, sometimes there are shady deals. A lot of our politicians that we know right now have done shady deals. I mean, look at Clinton and Whitewater. Real estate deals here and there, and some of these, representatives that make $175,000, dollars a year for their seat, and yet they're millionaires, if not more. Anyway, we won't dwell on that. They're all liars. And we're not perfect either. Somewhere along the line, excuse me, gotta chew this lifesaver. All right, do that. Let's go see if we're online, YouTube live. And we are live. And again, sorry I can't chat over there on YouTube live. Going to work around that somewhere along the line. I can figure out how to do everything on one computer. I mean, that would be great. I don't know if anybody's heard of Marfoogle. He has a pretty good setup over there. He takes calls, called Marfoogle TV. And I just like the way he does it. He has a full screen of all the news. He can actually, go and search Google and all that stuff. You see that operating during the show. And he takes calls after he's done with the news, which, doesn't take too long. The only problem is it's a 2-hour show. I stopped watching the Hagmans because they were a 3-hour show. I think they're down to 2 hours now. I'm not sure. And I did watch one recently on the Hagman report. I don't know if it's just the Hagman now because I didn't see the son there. It was just the father, and it was a 2-hour show. And that was probably, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, because I wanted to, because Stan Dayoff, and I like listening to him. He's very smart, does a lot of research, and he's very good at it. Actually bought his CD once on the location of the Garden of Eden. Claims that he knows where it is. I bought a CD. I bought, he sent, what do you call it, those 3D glasses with a CD, some things on there. I guess it was all right. I prefer to go to his website and listen to him speak. That's why I went there. I don't particularly, well, I won't mention my opinion on that one at the moment. We got a lot of news, so let's get to it. This is from the Watchers, so I can't guarantee how old it is. It says 1 day old because I do, news every other day. I have to give you updates. So in any case, major floods hit Libya. Severe damage reported, 4 people killed and 2,500 displaced. Everywhere. I mean, I just keep bringing in new places almost every day. And folks, when I have multiple headlines from one channel, I'm just going to leave you one link. You obviously can go in there. You see on the right side of the page where the other articles are. So Libya. The rainfall started on May 28th and intensified on June 2nd. Yeah, it's already the 7th. This is why it is news, though. I mean, it has to be reported because I want to make sure that you know that it's a worldwide thing. Not just the United States, here and there, it's everywhere. Anyway, the country's southwestern municipality of Got had been severely affected, including, and I'm not going to pronounce them all, Cilia, Allah, Got, Packet, Saya, El Sharika. Yeah, so 70% of the municipality were flooded, causing severe damage to infrastructure, houses, and farmland. Leaving the town of Got without power and water. So more farmland. Those are key words. Just keep looking for that. There's so many of them right now coming out. Once we started talking about the Midwest, a lot of articles have been coming out about crops all over the world. So it's not going to be a United States thing. Remember, they still want the New World Order, and how they're going to get it. Ruin the crops. Let's ruin the food chain for the world, because we do, do all these things. We sell, buy globally. So also from the Watchers, the food crisis, right? Further price increases due to the poor 2018-19 harvests in Zimbabwe. Yeah. So crisis, integrated phase classification, IPC phase 3 of 5. Food security outcomes persist across most of Zimbabwe, mainly due to the poor, and we just read that. Escalating macroeconomic hardships. Famine early warning system networks report. You have it. Now we got Zimbabwe. Let's see. Well, I got this weekly volcanic activity report in the middle of our weather, so I'm just going to go with what I got here. This is from May 29th to June 4th. Weekly volcanic activity report. So new activity unrest was reported in 6 volcanoes from May 29th to the 4th. Ongoing activity was reported for 14 volcanoes during the same period. It gives us a list of the new activity or unrest. Colima, Mexico. Etna, Sicily, Italy, Great Second Androff Islands, USA, Honshu, Japan, another place, Mitigara, Honshu, Japan, Sinabung, Indonesia. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of this in the Ring of Fire, of course. And then they got a list down there of ongoing activity. I won't read that for you, but we'll just read the countries, I guess. Indonesia, Japan, Indonesia, Russia. Indonesia, I mean, 4 there. Russia, 2 of them. Japan, 3 or 4 of them. Costa Rica, Guatemala. And then it goes into detail further down. Oh, you will have that link if you want to research that more. Also, months worth of rain in what? Guess what? In 24 hours. Haven't heard that before, have we? It's parts of the U.S. Gulf Coast, at least 1 person killed. Well, it is very good news to hear that the loss of life, at least in the original storm surge, is minimal. But wait, folks, I mean, with this standing water and the disease that comes afterwards, I mean, you're going to probably hear about malaria and all these other things that you normally hear in tropical places. It's just, the conditions are just right for all kinds of these diseases. Be aware of that. So there may be more fatalities coming down the pike, that's for sure. Flash flooding, leaving at least 1 person dead. 4 tornadoes touched down in Louisiana. It was June 5th to June 6th. And we're hearing other things about Texas today. I don't know, maybe they're targeting Texas. They targeted California. So tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico is expected to fuel more rounds of rain through June 7th to the 9th. Today is the 7th, Friday. And aggravates flash flooding across southeastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. As much as 3 to 5 inches of rain could fall daily. In some areas, excuse me, may be hit with 1 foot or more of rain from the multi-day event. I remember hearing a couple years ago when I really started getting into reporting these weather conditions. I believe it all started, for me anyway, in Texas, where they were getting that double-digit rainfall in 24 hours. Everyone's saying it, 24 hours. 24-hour total, Lafayette. So, we got other news from, like I said, from Texas that we're going to show you in a minute. And this is not one of them, but this is part of that. Severe dust storm and lightning claim 19 lives, leave up to 50 injured across the Uttar Pradesh, India. Okay. Yeah, the storms down trees and walls, killing both people and farm animals. At least 41 people were injured in Maquis. Yeah. And so, this one. This is from Dabu 7. Title of it here is A Rare Haboob Engulfs Part of Texas in a Giant Wall of Sand and Zero Visibility. I don't know if I could. Well, I had an article actually, but we'll listen to Dabu video. Only a minute, 48 seconds.
What they call a giant haboob engulfs Lubbock, Texas. This giant wall of sand in zero visibility. Sweeping upon this town here just a couple days ago, this is around 6 p.m. This huge wall just comes rolling through, And they're saying that it was generated by severe thunderstorms to the west. And we've seen this out in places like Arizona, and I've actually got caught in one myself, heading up toward the top of Mount Limon in southern Arizona. And we were at the top, actually, and seen this thing in the distance. Started to make our way down. As we started to make our way down, it started to come in. So we turned around, went back up, and was able to see this thing kind of roll in underneath of us all around the town below, since we were so high up on a peak, and it was just crazy. And then it passed through, and then we went on down into town, and for some time, there was still a haze where you could not see, and it was very unhealthy in terms of breathing it in and everything else, but
Yeah.
it shows that Texas here can be hit by these as well. If you guys got any images
But it's rare.
associated or video
Rare haboob. I don't know what he call it. It's not the same way I pronounce it, but anyway, I don't know, maybe there's an article somewhere. I just didn't catch it. Okay, I don't know why we're not going there. So we'll move over to end time headlines, and we'll talk about this that has been going on for quite a while. Millions of pigs in Asia culled as Africa swine fever spreads, described as the largest outbreak we've ever had on the planet. That's in China. There's always stories about them in the swine fever in the pigs. I think people, we really should, I guess they're basically tell us we need to eat, some other meat. Anyways, it's always been a problem there. Now it's, the worst outbreak we've ever had on the planet. I'm surprised they're not calling this the new norm as well. They're calling everything else the new norm. From Fox News, millions of pigs have reportedly been culled throughout Asia as outbreak, described as the biggest animal disease outbreak we've ever had on the planet. Spreads throughout the continent. African swine fever, ASF, is a highly contagious and deadly viral disease affecting both domestic and wild pigs of all ages. The disease cannot be transmitted from pigs to humans and isn't a food safety problem per officials, that's what they say, and there is no known cure. Yeah, folks, normally that would be true. You're talking about the transmission between humans and the animals who carry the diseases, that it's not airborne anyway, and that there's little evidence of that transition happening, so we don't need to worry about it. But we have heard stories in the past that it is starting, and I don't know, somebody might have told me, I don't know if this is in the Bible or not. It is in the Bible where it talks about, God's creatures will be taken away from us. The beasts of the field, will attack us. I think that had started to happen a few months back with one particular incident, and I can't really recall it. But we need to be careful of that. Definitely do. So in any case, it's in China, and it's been there for a while, and we do need to watch for that here. Remember, we get it, and I don't know why we keep sending our enemy, a supposed enemy, or buying, computer chips for our military aircraft from them, and sending over our food to them so they can prepare them for us in prepackaged prepared food that we buy in the supermarkets, in the frozen section, whatever, prepared food. We have stories about that. I mean, what else would you expect from your enemy? But why do we do that? You know, if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, the Georgia Guidestones and they're admitting to, you know, this Agenda 2030 and all this stuff, then it wouldn't make sense us sending food to be prepped over there in China, our enemy. But it makes a lot more sense when you consider all them together. And, you know, they want a $500 million population, a manageable number. So they have to get rid of 6.5 billion people. And, you know, how do you do that without them noticing? You do it slowly. You slowly poison them. Yeah, any way you can. And then, you know, while they're being slowly poisoned, you know, distract them with this false flag here, this false flag there, and or whatever it may be. I mean, I don't know why they keep calling it false flags, but I mean, I guess I know why. You know, it's made up, it's planned. You know, disasters. I mean, look at the weather, man. The weather's crazy. How did that guy know we're gonna, you know, in 500 days that we're gonna have what do you call it? Weather chaos. How did he know? Of course, he was telling us. He told us right out now. 500 days until weather chaos. He might have been a couple of days off. In any case, I don't know why I put this in there. I did it just because World Watchman, you know, yes, wanted me to. This guy, this YouTube channel, I guess, says right here, Mike Decker. Apparently he watches these planes, trying to say planes and chemtrail at the same time. You know what I mean? So the mind puts them both together and says at the same time, it doesn't make any sense. Let's just make that a new word, right? I mean, they make up everything else. You know, bombogenesis, polar vortex, what was the other one? Lightning asthma. I mean, give me a break. But anyway, quite interesting the photos that he took here, because I've never seen this the black chemtrails. And apparently this guy's got video evidence of it. Let's play it.
Airlines cargo or Cathay CPA or whatever. Dickhead. Ruining my coffee.
All right, well, I haven't listened to it, so I don't know how he speaks. I don't normally listen to this guy, but I take World Watchman's word for it. But he, you know, he has taken some pretty close-up pictures of these chemtrails. Videos this guy thinks. I mean, that's a pretty good shot when you can get up right up to where the wings are and watch these things being released.
Oh, he's referring to you?
Look at this.
Dickheads.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the language. I didn't know it was in there. What are you going to do? We live in a really evil world. Have their own language. Things we used to say, right? Well, there you go. There's the black chemtrails. I believe it was in California. Other than that, this I haven't read about yet, but it's just out there as a headline. Football-sized asteroid could strike Earth this year. I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, are striking the Earth and could strike the Earth. But anyway, also from Fox News. An enormous asteroid with a diameter wider than a football field has a roughly 1 in 7,000 chance of hitting Earth later this year. However, it's nothing to lose sleep over. Known as asteroid 2006 QV89, The space rock, which has a diameter of 164 feet, could potentially hit the planet on September 9th, 2019, according to a list of the most concerning space objects compiled by the European Space Agency. So you can go there. You can also go to the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and look up all those things, near-Earth objects that they report. Some of them, of course, they won't find until they've already passed by, or hours before they do. So if you're, I used to go there quite often, so I'm not that concerned about it anymore. If it's going to hit the Earth and there's nothing I can do about it except pray, then that's it. Lord's will would be done. Yeah, this is just some crazy stuff. So, talking about, days of Noah or Lot, whatever you want to call it. Congressional candidate in Virginia admits he's a pedophile, and he's going to run for Congress anyway. Probably be voted in. From Yahoo, Nathan Larson, 37-year-old accountant from Charlottesville, Virginia, is running for Congress as an independent candidate in his native state. He is also a pedophile, as he admitted to Huffington Post on Thursday, who was bragged in his website post about raping his late ex-wife. Serious? Why would he think that he's going to get elected? Well, no, people are really freaking strange. They've gone, the Lord has put them in their little delusional state, and I guess that's how some things are going to happen regardless. So anyways, in a phone call, Larson confirmed that he created the now defunct websites SUIPED.org, that's SUIPED. I don't know if that's a real site, and Apocalypse, whatever that means, .today. Chat rooms that served as gathering places for pedophiles and violence-minded misogynists like himself, of course. My alarms went off. Somebody's probably at the door. No, it won't. Pastor arrested for preaching against homosexuality. Yeah. This is what happens when we have a roommate now and we get takeout. So I could get up and go all the way in there and make him be quiet, but that probably cause more of a scene. So anyways, pastor arrested for preaching against homosexuality. From the Opinion Charisma, Pastor David Lynn of Christ Forgiveness Ministries was arrested on June 4th, 2019 for preaching the gospel publicly in Toronto, Canada. The neighborhood he was preaching in was Church Wesley Village. This neighborhood is known to be a place where many of the LGBTQ community in Toronto reside. His ministry is currently on an outdoor preaching tour throughout the 22 districts in Toronto. June 4th happened to be the day that they scheduled for that district. It is not uncommon for someone to think open-air preaching in LGBTQ neighborhood and immediately jump to thoughts of preachers condemning whatever. Arrested for preaching against homo. Yeah, that's Canada for you. Yeah, it's not just preaching against, you preach against anybody, it's hate speech in Canada. Yes, it is. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Christian school hit with SWAT-style raid. CA demands they allow sexual exploration or be shut down. What it says. CA demands they allow sexual exploration, or be shut down. We could. I think we could. So, a Christian school in California. No kidding, California. Facing a huge battle with the state. Pacific Justice Institute is preparing Riverview Christian Academy in Northern California. The school was raided earlier this year, SWAT style, by the state. According to the PJI, the raid was carried out by 16 armed law enforcement from California Highway Patrol, 2 canine units, and 17 social workers. Students and staff were horrified by the sudden and unexpected attack. Yeah, I guess so. Pretty sure it was meant to be that way. So the state was misled into thinking that the school was harboring illegal drugs, amassing ammunition, and preparing for doomsday. Okay, except for harboring the illegal drugs, according to Caesar's rule, I guess. Amassing ammunition, preparing for doomsday. What's wrong with that? I mean, the IRS is doing it. The post office is doing it. Well, why can't Americans do it? Why can't Canadians do it? Anyway, so the RVCA works under the Ministry Teen Rescue, which has offered programs for struggling teenagers in need of full-time supervision and redirection since 1989. This is some crazy stuff to do. Yeah, anything. And so we're going to start, I don't know, I have a bigger video that I'm putting together about this, topic, the principality, this demonic principality that's out there. Because we don't fight against the flesh, we're in a spiritual war. And we need to pray against that spirit of suicide. It is everywhere. I started doing some research just on, the teens and the vets, and it's been growing and growing. I mean, you're talking about police officers now and just regular people, general population. It's a ever-growing disease, and it's demonic. So we got this title here. 12-year-old took Uber alone to parking garage and jumped to her death. So this Florida family is demanding answers from Uber after they say their 12-year-old daughter, first of all, 12-year-old getting a taxi in front of the house, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what they were thinking. Hailed a ride in the middle of the night and then jumped off of a downtown Orlando parking garage. I just have a lot of questions. Like, middle of the night, this guy is not, this Uber, I mean, is these one of these driverless cars, these Ubers? I don't think so, right? Still have a driver. Why didn't he, where did she get the money for the taxi ride? I don't know how far it was, but anyway. So, hailed a ride in the middle of the night. He drove her to a parking garage. So the family of Benita Bibi Diamond said Thursday that their daughter would still be alive if the driver had followed Uber's policy on transporting minors. The girl used her mom's phone to download the Uber app in the middle of the night, January 10th, the family said. Parents said she was never allowed to use the ride-share apps before and took her mother's phone because her own was locked. Something was going on there, huh? Yeah, something we probably all should be doing is locking these phones. My grandson, kind of the middle grandson, he's 15 now. Doesn't matter what the parents do, whether they take the phone away from him or shut off the internet so he can't get on the internet. He goes and steals phones, trades the phones for other things that he's gotten along the way, and trades them for phones, and he goes out in the middle of the night to find hotspots to go online. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do about that, though, that one. You know, in the middle of, you know, school night, goes out in the middle of the night and finds a hotspot with a phone that he's probably stolen, because he's been through a few of them, and his father's admitted that he stole them. Just keep asking him, what the heck is so important on this, you know, wherever, social media things, that you would have to go through the extremes like that to go and be on it. And he's failing in school. He's gonna be staying back this year. I don't know, it's teenagers, man. They're just, I know we used to call it the generation gap, and nobody can explain to me what that means. It's just a generation gap. It's more like a void. I mean, I was a teenager, okay? I couldn't tell you about that generation gap. I could tell you the things that I did. Couldn't tell you why I did them. I mean, maybe they're in that void somewhere where they're being tossed and turned by evil and good. I don't know. That's the only thing I could explain about the generation gap. I wish somebody else knew and could, you know, tell parents before these things happen. And there's not much you can do. I had 3 kids too, and my first one, you know, was a demon child. A lot of bad things. Anyway, so, you know, but now this girl's dead. I mean, she left a letter behind. She left a letter behind. If Uber had followed their policy without a doubt, our daughter would still be here, her father said. Yeah. Funny how those things work. It's not funny, but it's just, okay, off. And while we're on the subject, decided that, you know, I would go, not looking very hard, because this was basically set right in front of me, from 911, breaking 911. NYPD chief kills himself just days before retirement. I mean, what would be so stressful? What, that he would not be able to go to work anymore? Or, I mean, enough to want to kill yourself? I don't know, man. Deputy Chief Stephen Silks was pronounced dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound Wednesday evening. Silks was off duty and located near Burns Street, 69th Avenue in Queens. The officer was found sitting in a car suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. Now, I would go look into it, obviously, but they're calling it, you know, suicide. He was taken to Elmhurst Hospital by New York PD car and was listed in critical condition, where he was later pronounced deceased. So highly credible sources tell Breaking 911 that Silks handed in his retirement papers to the NYPD last night. He was scheduled to retire at the end of July after 38 years on the job. Oh, so he wasn't being forced into it, but he did turn in his papers on his own. Silk was not married and had no children. I'm trying to understand these things. I've been through them myself, and I can only speak for my own experiences, but people are under pressure because, we're in a world of chaos that the devil created. But this is freaky as well, too. This one also from Breaking 911. Second NYPD suicide. Veteran NYPD detective kills himself hours after chief does the same. I would call that a little suspicious. I mean, hours after the same. I mean, did he know that the chief killed himself? Anyways. So this frantic search for a missing NYPD detective ended with a grim find, the second in just 24 hours. What is going on? Car was found abandoned near Plum Beach in Brooklyn. Unfortunately, his body was found near the water. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot. So Thursday morning, medical sent out around 2 a.m. after visiting his wife, who had undergone a small surgical procedure, and she was expected to be released on Thursday morning. So I don't know. These things, a lot of people, after these things happen, some people say that there are ways of telling, and that some suicide, or people who have the thoughts of suicide, do show some signs. But we all must be paying attention. And in this day and age, I think we could pay attention a little bit more, because it's going to happen more. This is just one of those things that just add to the darkness that's surrounding us, man. There's been suicides forever, yes. There's something different about these. I mean, the numbers are just growing. I think it was, teen suicides per year is like 22 a day. And for veterans, it's like 12 a day. Police officers, I mean, it's not as much as that, but more are killed by suicide, police, than actual policemen who are killed in the line of duty each year for the past 3 years. Something I'm looking into a little bit more. Just need to. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just led to do it, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to be obedient. This one right here, things like this too, that Florida woman tired of living in Trump's country stabs herself 3 times. And just police officer responding to the situation, said that, yeah, I'm just tired of living in Trump's country. I'm tired of Trump being president. How something so simple like that can bring you to harm yourself? There's something else that's there, right? Call it a principality. A demonic entity, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. It may not have always been there, but it sure has taken a full hold in the past few years. And it's just growing. And there's things that I want to get done as soon as I let everyone, get this research that I'm doing. I've got it mostly on my computer already. Just a couple other things I need to look at. And then I'm going to do a video. It'll be live, it'll be recorded. And we're going to ask for corporate prayer. That's the only way I know how to do it. That's led to do it, so be aware of that. I'm going to be asking everybody. So we all do it at a specific time. Don't have to be together. We can just schedule a time, so just tell everyone from the West Coast and the East Coast, certain time that we'll do it. Kind of like the same thing we did when we prayed on Trump's inauguration, or his presidency, his election. So stabbed herself with a kitchen knife. So upon my arrival, 3 times. We already talked about it. Let's just move on with that. Yeah, and this is ridiculous. Okay, they're covering up something that they're doing with stories like this. Okay, this is also from End Time Headlines posting it. It's actually from the Insider, and Never Lose Truth did a video about it. I'm just going to show the clip where she includes it in her video. But anyway, massive ladybug swarm over California shows up on National Weather Service radar. And I'd put a question mark to it. They don't. You tell me a 12 square mile atmospheric impression on Doppler radar, and it's going to be ladybugs? Yeah, anyway, so this huge blob that appeared on the National Weather Service radar wasn't a rain cloud, but a massive swarm of ladybugs over Southern California. Right. Meteorologist Joe DeAndrea says the array of bugs appeared to be about 80 miles wide as it flew over San Diego Tuesday. 80 miles, wow. In the video, she said 12 miles, about 12 miles. We'll go to that in a second. But DeAndrea tells that the ladybugs are actually spread throughout the sky. No kidding. Flying at between 5,000 and 9,000 feet. Really, do ladybugs go that far up? Come on, really? You guys are going to fall for this one? With the most concentrated group, about 10 miles wide. It wasn't immediately known what type of ladybug was causing the phenomenon. Times says one species, adult convergent lady beetles, mate and migrate from the Sierra Nevada to valley areas where they eat apids and lay eggs. Yeah, right. Here's the video. Whoops, that's not it. Come on, I just had the video. Ooh, that was something. That was a neat little trick, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. It disappeared. Just had it. Are you freaking serious, man? Anyways, I can always do this. No, I can't. Basically know where it is. I'm just going to go pull it up from my history if it loads. Okay. And see. Okay. Yeah, it's basically just. Oh, you know what? Wow. Hold on. I think they may have taken it off my history too. Ooh.
A lot of comments from
There you
people
go.
and emails. Massive ladybug swarm over California shows up on radar. Okay. A huge blob that appeared on the National Weather Service's radar wasn't a rain cloud, but a massive swarm of ladybugs over Southern California. Oh my God. Hey, where is it?
Yeah,
They took it
disappeared on her
off?
too.
Shoot. Hang on. Here.
Yeah, I just want to warn you about her
Ladybug
language.
so large it registers on National Weather Service radar. Here it is. Swarm of ladybugs. Really? Okie dokie. Well, what do you make of that?
Yeah, what do you think of that, folks? Really? I mean, what did they say? 10 miles wide at some spots, 80 miles in another spot. Was it 80 miles? Ladybugs showing up like this on radar? No, no, no.
Okay.
We're not that stupid.
How did they know?
They really do think we're stupid.
Did they have somebody investigate? Did the ladybugs die from the pulsating radar? And somebody went out to investigate and saw, oh, what are they claiming it was? I read an article, it was like 12 miles, square miles of ladybugs.
Yeah, bigger than that, sister.
Really? Had they known, it was ladybugs. Because
Yeah, so, but actually a cloud of ladybugs termed a bloom. Yeah, whatever. Doing something there in Southern California. That's what they said it came from. Doesn't look like Southern California to me. Anyway, there you have it, folks. You can listen to the whole thing if you want. It starts at about 20 minutes Play it for about 5. Yeah, sure. Okay. A bloom of ladybugs. Got it. Yeah, this wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be part of my research. But, yeah, it says right here, policeone.com. More cops died by suicide than in the line of duty in 2018. And then the figures down here, 2017, same number. 2016, 19 less. Anyways, that has already been saved and it's a file. Shouldn't have been there, but anyway. Okay, this I had to put in there. It's just a video, about 2 minutes. Title from it's U.S. Navy releases a video of a close call with a Russian destroyer. This is from Radio Free Europe. I'll just read a little bit of the headline. Video of what says is a Russian destroyer almost colliding on June 7th, that was today, with a U.S. cruiser. Of course, they're ahead of time if they're over there. Well, this is in the Philippine Sea, so that was actually yesterday, or the 6th, which is their 7th, something like that. Let's just play it while I read it. Sorry about that. No volume, so don't worry about it. I tried turning up the volume, it doesn't do anything. So, June 7th, U.S. cruiser in the Philippine Sea. The U.S. Navy called the incident involving the USS Chancellorsville and the Russian destroyer, the Admiral Vigorov, unsafe and unprofessional. Press service of Russia's Pacific Fleet claimed the USS Chancellorsville had unexpectedly changed course in what is called a dangerous maneuver. And it actually says right down here the video has no audio. Yeah, we figured that one out. Oh, 48 seconds into it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I think I've seen about a minute of it. Yeah, they usually play these, mirrored type maneuvers along the way. Now you get these two, I mean, it would definitely cause, it should have caused, somebody's going to get fired for this. Anyways. Not going to show me any preview. He hadn't stopped the camera long enough for me to see if I could see any human beings, on deck. Do you see any human beings on deck? That one. That one right there. Right down here in the tower. Anyway, there you have it. Very strange. That's all I could read. No, that's about it. Radio Free Europe. Oh, do you remember seeing this story the other day? She thought, watch, it's down here. This is what happened to this lady. 74 years old, I guess. Remember this helicopter that rescued her? See this thing spinning down there? That's this 70-year-old woman being spun around. 174 times, they said. Let's go read up at the top. So she thought she was going to die. Husband of hiker who spun 174 times during helicopter rescue says she did deep breathing exercises to keep from passing out as the blood went to her head. So George Mitro said his wife, 74-year-old Cataline Mitro, is still recovering after she fell at this peak on Tuesday. explained that the two were nearing the end of their hiking trip when Catalina stubbed her toe and fell face down. She broke her nose and her glasses, but also injured her hand, and her leg was bleeding. Emergency crews decided to airlift the injured woman after she complained of hip pain. So while she was being airlifted, and I saw this the other day, might even been reported, and the stretcher began spinning out of control. Anyways, the first thing she said was, "I'm glad I'm alive." She thought she was going to die when she was spinning. I would have thrown up all over myself. I will remember what she said, though. She did some breathing. I know I saw it. Did some breathing to help her out. Yeah, here we go. The one line that I skipped was it. George shared that his wife did deep breathing exercises so that she could keep from passing out. Now, you probably almost have to do, like the birth breathing that women do. But anyway, she's alive, man. Spinning around like that. No, I would never have fared as well as she did. In any case, she's doing well. So good story. And we're almost done here. Just wanted to update you with some of this Ebola stuff. Ebola carriers. So U.S. Border Patrol agents apprehend large group of African migrants from the Congo region. Remember, we had told you probably a month ago, maybe longer. Yeah, I think it was longer, that there were, I think, 3 people that were prevented from coming across the border because of the same thing. What this room does, it dries up everything. Anyways, how many other ones may have gotten through? But besides that, because we already know that other things have gotten through. I mean, we have some diseases that we thought we had, rid ourselves of until the gates were opened during Obama's administration, and it returned. So also from the week, the Ebola cases in the Congo surpassed 2,000. That's a jump, quite a bit. It's a big jump. I think it was just a couple months ago, 3 months ago, and this guy, Florida Maquis, this is the one I keep telling you about, does some good research on it. Yeah, I think one of his videos, he had data in there that like 3 months ago was at 1,000, and then, it jumped to 2,000. That's a big jump because the first 1,000 took like, I don't know, maybe a little over a year. Or 8 months, he said. 8 months. Yeah, so this is the news. With all these other things, large Ebola outbreaks, new normal, says who? I mean, this is what a lot of people are saying in an answer to all these, storms, volcanoes, earthquakes, everything. Oh, it's all just the new norm. The fires, yeah. California governor, yeah. New norm. Learn to live with it. Large Ebola outbreaks. Yeah, where is this? Where is that one about the bats? Well, it went all the way to the end. That's where it went. Never mind. Where was that? Oh. Yeah, this has got to be it. So this is a Florida Maquis video about these bats. There is another story somewhere. Where the heck is it? Right here. One of these things, they have bats. The government was experimenting with bats, these Mexican bats, and injecting them with viruses. And not only that, but training them to carry bombs like they do with other, animals, dolphins and whatnot. To carry bombs, yeah. But in any case, these bats are supposedly, in this video, related, somehow connected with what is happening in the Congo. Why the Congo, all of a sudden, where the Ebola was, jumped all the way west to the west coast. And we're trying to figure out, well, he was trying to figure out where, everyone's trying to figure out basically, except me, where this where it all originated from. And nobody could figure it out. So Florida Maquis found this article about these bats. And it makes sense. There's a lot of bats in a lot of places. You can infect these bats, which are immune to the Ebola. They carry also rabies, I'm told, which is also incurable. So I'm trying to figure out whether I should start. Go to 4-minute mark. Right there.
18. When did this current outbreak happen? August 2018.
Oh yeah, he's talking about the date of the article, July 3rd.
How the Pentagon is planning to use bats in the battle against bioweapons. Now I want you to look at the date. 3 July 2018. When did this current outbreak happen? August 2018. What a coincidence. The last U.S. military attempt to employ bats was a disastrous failure that involved miniature bombs. Now their remarkable defensive abilities against disease are being eyed. Wait until you read this. So here they're talking about the dolphins and homing pigeons. In the wake of Pearl Harbor, 1941, hundreds of, are you ready for this, Mexican free-tailed bats were recruited as part of a harebrained scheme to blow up Japanese cities, arming them with bombs and all this kind of stuff, right? That's what I just described. It's called Project X-Ray. Apparently set the barracks on fire. This is supposedly a picture of that when it fell apart. But today, the U.S. military is again interested in bats, not as frontline attackers, but as defenders against a potentially devastating threat, Russian bioweapons. Fruit bats have an almost supernatural ability to harbor some of the planet's most deadly viruses without getting sick themselves. Inject an Egyptian fruit bat with the Marburg virus, which is basically Ebola, and nothing happens. Do the same thing to a human. Within a week, the patient's bleeding to death. These bats' extraordinary superimmunity has long fascinated virologists, and new research has shed light on how these flying frugivores achieve their supreme skill. Coalition of scientists at Boston University and USAMRIID. So what are the odds that they had nothing to do with this? China Morning Post. And it sounds exactly like what the kind of crap they would pull. Importing bats, bringing bats in here to do this testing. One or two of them get out.
Then we gotta.
And we have the next super contagion on our hands.
Yeah. And so that's why I urge you to go to that, what is that, global, oh man, I had it too. I put it in one of the last two videos. Let's see if I can, get it just for a second into my utility folder. Let's go back up. My utility folder, and it should be right in the bottom. All right, if we can get to the bottom. And there's just a lot of them. Yeah, global incident map displaying terror acts, okay? But you can change the parameters. So remember this. This will tell you all about the incidents, especially Well, you could, like I said, there's these tags down here that you can select whatever one will show up. It is free, but you can get up, very up-to-date incidents. I guess you got to pay $20 a month for it or something like that, which I have not done yet. I may end up doing it, seeing as I could, at least afford that, I think, at the moment. Of course, the minute I can't, it'll be shut down. GlobalIncidentMap.com. Okay. You need to follow where these outbreaks are going on. That one is for terrorism, but in any case, disease outbreaks map. Hit that, it'll shuffle, refresh, and then you can see what's going on. The Congo is right here. So, vaccinate 800,000 against cholera in DRC. Hear any news about the other outbreaks? 1,177 deaths called by Ebola now. Say what's up, 177. Actually, no, it's supposed to be 2,000, so I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. That's low. So anyways, that's it. That's it. That's all we got. Did a post out there about Julian. He's not doing too well. He wrote a letter. I'll leave this link. They are not letting him do a lot of things. And if he is doing them, he's trying to, defend himself, and he can't do it with the amount of time that they give him on computers or phones and whatnot. I guess he's sending out a letter. I don't know exactly what he's asking for. In any case, I didn't know that this guy was nominated 7 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. It says in the letter anyway. I'm sure it's right. In any case, this last one here. Former lesbian. I was raped, hated men. Devil thought he had me. God had another plan. Amen. Love to hear stories like that, man. Devil loses again. With that, everyone, it's Friday. I don't know what's going on this weekend, except it's going to be hot. There's going to be at least one day out of them that I'm probably going to go hiking and or biking. And so I will try and at least open up the Mixler for some praise and worship music or something. Maybe some, some preaching, some other news. So with that, everyone, God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Have a great Sabbath. And I'll see you in the trenches. Peace out, everyone.